just use Tinder. Hello everyone, it's Leo. Thank you for coming to my channel. If you're new here, hello, my name is Leo. And today I am going to look at one video which is
filled with volcanoes and it's made in the year negative a billion, Japan might not have been here. In the year negative 40,000, it was here, and you can walk to it, and some people walk to it. Then it got warmer, some icebergs melted, it became an island, and now there's lots of trees because it's warmer. So now there's people on the island. They're basically sort of hanging out in between the mountains, eating nuts off trees and using the latest technology, like stones and bowls. Ding dong is the outside world, and they have technology for the future, like really good metal and crazy rice farms. Now you can make a lot of rice really, really quickly.
okay. So this part, because I've been learning agriculture when I was a university student, and there's one professor who said that the reason why we Japanese are really kind of detail-oriented, or the reason why we always focus on the little tiny things is because we needed grown the rice every single fucking day, and he said that it's affect how we are now, and I'm not sure that it's true or not, but he's professor.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of horseshit.
And he's been learning Japanese agriculture. He is doing the research for I think like over 40 years or something. So this is one fact that isn't really very detail-related. Anyway, so let's keep continue.
That means if you own the farm, you own a lot of food, which is something everybody needs to survive. So that makes you king. Rice farming and rice kingdoms spread across the land, all the way to here. The most important kingdoms were here, 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 and here. But this one was the most important, ruled by a heavenly super person, or emperor for short. Knock knock, at the door, it's religion. The new prince wants everyone to try this hot new religion from Biekt. Please try this religion, he said. No, said everybody. Try it, he said. No, said everybody again.
So, for this part, this guy, his name is Shoto Taishi, and there is a kind of story that we know he could listen he could listen the voice from 10 people at the same time. So for example, there's a lot of people, you know, like talking at the same time. Usually you feel like, okay, shut up, but he could listen 10 people in the same time. And about the Buddhism, the reason why a lot of Japanese people say no to, you know, kind of start practicing the Buddhism is because we already had a religion which is called the Shintoism. So about the Shintoism, I'm going to talk probably in a different video, but anyway, so we already have different religion. But also, when you see the Buddhism at that time, what kind of Buddhism tried to come into Japan at that time was kind of set meal. Like Buddhism, yes, it's like a philosophy, but also it's kind of, how can I say, like power control things. So now when you see the Buddhism, you feel like, okay, this is a way you actually try to understand, you know, being nothing or kind of meditation things. But at that time, that kind of story, like meditation or whatsoever, is later. There's a Kokai and Saicho, so that two people are going to go to China, and then they learn what is like true Buddhism, and they came back. And so at that time, yes, a lot of Japanese people kind of practice like Buddhism like right now. Like what I learned when I was middle high school student, when I was high school student was like what happened at that time was when you practice the Buddhism, there is always like one leader. It's going to be like one leader kind of system. So, but at that time, Japan was, there's a lot of leader, like, you know, like kind of so difficult to explain in English. But anyway, so there's each place, each prefecture, there's one leader. So they kind of afraid that if we start practicing the Buddhism, maybe there's only one leader. It's going to be just one leader. So they didn't want to practice Buddhism, so they said no. I think that's the reason why a lot of Japanese people say no, because they are kind of afraid to actually start practicing different things. So yes. Anyway, let's go to the next point.
And so the religion was put into place and all the rules that came with it. Then the government was taken over by another clique, and they made some reforms, like making the government govern more and making the government more like China's government, which is a government that governs more. Hi China, they said. Hi dipshit, said China. Can you call us something else other than dipshit, said Japan. Like what, said China. How about sunrise land, said Japan. And they stole China's alphabet and wrote a book about themselves. And then they made lots of poetry and art and another book about themselves. Then they stopped moving the capital every time the emperor died and kept it in one place for a while, right here. And they conquered the north finally.
Ian, it's okay. Sorry, I stopped a lot, but please talk about the Heian period because this is for me it's kind of fascinating time. So I had a lot of curiosity about the Heian period. So at the Heian period, Kyoto was the capital of Japan. So before Heian-kyo, it was called as Heijo-kyo, and at that time the capital was Nara Prefecture, but now the capital is Tokyo. But anyway, so Heian period was, everything happened in Kyoto, and the things that I really like is about how the relationship is actually going on at the Heian period. And I think there's one writing that I wrote. Yes, this one, relationship at the Heian period. And I wrote this about 1 year and a half ago. I still remember the reason why I wrote about this is because I went to one museum and I saw kind of surprising things. It was about how the people who at the Heian period, how people start, the relationship. But at that period, the woman usually couldn't show the face, so they could show the face only for the husband or that. So for other guy, they couldn't show the face. I think especially when they are rich, like which we call hizon, if they are that kind of people, they couldn't show the face. But I think for the people who do farming or something, they could show the face. But for that kind of people, they couldn't show the face. So what they do is they stuck inside of the house, but then you think like, okay, how men can actually find a woman? So at that time, what they did was kaimami, and I think it's called glimpse. And so at that museum, they were writing about how to do the glimpse from outside, like to see the woman. I was like, so I was like kind of fascinating, like how they are crazy at that time. So that's the reason why I wrote that kind of essay. But okay, so I'm going to read, but if you want to skip, you can skip. Okay, this is the time that you can jump. Okay, so at the Heian period, that thing that I really like. So anyway, I'm going to go to next step.
Get that squared away. A rich hipster named Kukai is bored with modern Buddhism, visits China, and learns a better version, which is more spiritual. Comes back, reinvents the alphabet, and causes art and literature to be created for a long time. And the royal palace turned into such a dream world of art that they really didn't give a shit about running the country. So if you live outside the palace, how are you supposed to protect your shit from criminals? Hire a samurai. Everyone started hiring samurai. Rich, important people hired samurai. Poor people who could afford to hire samurai did not hire samurai. The samurai became organized and powerful, more powerful than the government, so they made their own military government. Here, they let the emperor still be emperor, but the shogun is actually in control. Breaking news, the Mongols have invaded China.
We've invaded China,
said the Mongols.
Please respect us, or else we might invade you as well.
Okay, said Japan. So the Mongols came over, ready for war, and died in a tornado. But they tried again, and had a nice time fighting with the Japanese, but then died in a tornado. Then the emperor overthrows the shogunate. Then the shogunate overthrows him back and moves to Kyoto and makes a new shogunate. And the emperor can still dress like an emperor if he wants, that's fine. Like painting with less colors, collaborative poetry, plays, monkey fun, tea parties, gardening, architecture, flowers. It's time for who's going to be the next shogun. Usually it's the shogun's kid, but the shogun doesn't have a kid. So he tries to get his brother to quit being a monk and be the next shogun. He says okay, but then the shogun has a kid. So now who's it going to be? Vote now on your phones. And everyone voted so hard that the palace caught on fire and burned down. The shogun actually didn't care. He was off celebrating poetry. And the whole country broke into pieces. Everyone is fighting with each other for local power, and it's anybody's game. Knock knock. It's Europe. No, they're not here to take over. They just want to sell some shit, like clocks, and guns. So that's cool, but everyone's still fighting each other for control. Now with guns. And wouldn't it be nice to control the capital, which right now is puppets with no control? This clan is ready to make a run for it, but first they have to trample this smaller clan, which is in the way. Surprise, the smaller clan wins, and the leader of that clan steals the idea of invading the capital and invades the capital. And it goes very well. He's about halfway through conquering Japan when someone who works for him kills him, and then someone else who works for him kills them. That guy finishes conquering Japan. And then he confiscated everybody's swords and made some rules. Now I'm going to invade Korea and then hopefully China, he said, and failed, and also died. But before he died, he told these 5 guys to take care of his 5-year-old son until he's old enough to be the next ruler of Japan. And the 5 guys said, yeah, right, it's not going to be this kid, it's going to be one of us, because we're grown-ups. And it's probably going to be this guy, who happens to be way more rich and powerful than the other. A lot of people support him, but a lot of people support not supporting him. They have a fight, and he wins, and starts a new government right here. And he still lets the emperor dress like an emperor and have very nice things. But don't get confused, this is the new government, and they are very strict. So strict they close the country. No one can leave, and no one can come in. Except for the Dutch, if they want to buy and sell shit. But they have to do it right here. Now that the entire country is on a war.
So, about the Dutch. So before the Dutch, actually, the Portuguese was the first comer to Japan, and it was the Nagasaki prefecture. And yes, they brought a gun, and also the clock, and also the Christianity. And the reason why that could come to this period, even we are kind of close. We are not completely close because some point we are open to exchange something. But like when you see Japanese history, yes, we are closed to trade things. But the reason why that could come, that could kind of influence a lot of things is because we Japanese didn't like to kind of get idea of the Christianity because we already have the Shintoism and the Buddhism. But what Portuguese said that was like, okay, you need to practice the Christianity. Then after Dutch people come, and what they said was, okay, if you practice Christianity, your country got a mess. So we don't say that you need to practice the Christianity. Like we don't ask you for that. So that's the reason why they could trade things. And this is things that I learned when I was, I think, a high school student. And I really want to say that if Dutch people ever come to Japan, why you didn't tell the Japanese people how to say no? Let's go to the next.
For itself, the population increased a lot. Business increased, schools were built, roads were built, everyone learned to read, books were published, there was poetry, plays, sexy times, puppet shows, and Dutch studies. People started to study European science from books they bought from the Dutch. We're talking geography, skeletons, physics, chemistry, astronomy, and maybe even electricity. Over time, the economic and cultural prosperity began to gradually slow down. Knock knock. It's the United States, with huge boats, with guns, gunboats. Open the country. Stop having it be closed, said the United States. There's really nothing they could do, so they signed a contract that lets the United States, Britain, and Russia visit Japan anytime they want. Choshu and Satsuma hated this. That sucks, they said. This sucks. And with almost very little outside help, they overthrew the shogunate and somehow made the emperor again and moved him to Edo, which they renamed Eastern Capital. They made a new government, which was a lot more Western. They made a new constitution that was pretty Western, and a military that was pretty Western. And do you know what else is Western? That's right, it's conquering stuff. So what can we conquer? Korea. They conquer Korea, taking it from its previous owner, China, and then go a little bit further. And Russia rushes in out of nowhere and says, "Stop, no, you can't take that. We were going to build a railroad through here to try to get some more water." And Russia builds their railroad, supervised by a shit ton of soldiers. And then when the railroad was done, they downgraded to a fuck ton. Did I say downgrade? I meant upgrade. And Japan says, "Can you maybe chill?" And Russia says, "How about maybe you chill?" Japan is kind of scared of Russia. You'll never guess who's also kind of scared of Russia. Great Britain. So Japan and Great Britain make an alliance together so they can be a little less scared of Russia. Feeling confident, Japan goes to war against Russia, just for a moment, and then they both get tired and stop. It's time for World War I. The world is about to have a war, because it's the 1900s and weapons are getting crazy, and all these empires are excited to try them out on each other. Meanwhile, Japan has been enjoying conquering stuff and wants more. And the next thing on their list is this part of China and lots of tiny islands. All that stuff belongs to Germany, which just had war declared on it by Britain because Britain was friends with Belgium, which was being trespassed by Germany in order to get to France to kick France's ass because France is friends with Russia, who was getting ready to kick Austria's ass because Austria was getting ready to kick Serbia's ass because someone from Serbia shot the leader of Austria's ass. Or actually shot him in the head. And Britain is currently friends with Japan, so you know what that means. Duh, Japan should take the islands. Which they wanted to do anyway, so they called Britain on the telly to sort of let them know. And then they did it. And they also helped Britain a little here and there with some errands and stuff. Now the war is over, and congratulations, Japan, you technically fought in the war, which means you get to sit at the negotiating table with the big dudes, where they decided who owns what. And yes, Japan gets to keep all that shit they stole from Germany. You also get to join the post-war mega alliance, the League of Nations, whose mission statement is to try not to take over the world. The Great Depression is bad, and Japan's economy is now crappy, but the military is doing just fine, and it invades Manchuria. And the League of Nations is like, "No, don't do that. If you're in the League of Nations, you're not supposed to take over the world." And Japan said, "How about I do anyway?" And Japan invaded more and more and more and more of China, and was planning to invade the entire East.
You've got mail.
It's from Germany, the new leader of Germany. He has a cool mustache, and he's trying to take over the world and needs friends. This also got forwarded to Italy. They all decided to be friends because they had so much in common. It's time for World War II. Germany is invading the neighbors. Then they invade the neighbors' neighbors. Then the neighbors' neighbors' neighbors, who happened to be Britain, said, "Holy shit." And the United States started helping Britain because they are good friends, and started not helping Japan because they're friends and our friends are not friends. Plus they're planning on invading the entire ocean. The United States is also working on a large, very huge bomb, bigger than any other bomb ever, just in case. But they still haven't joined the war. War looks bad on TV, and the United States is really starting to care about their image. But then Japan spits on them in Hawaii and challenges them to war. And they say yes. And then Germany, as a symbol of friendship, declares war on the United States also. So the United States goes to war in Europe.
Okay, so about the point, the Japanese dropped the bomb on the Hawaii Pearl Harbor.
And drop a bomb.
Yes, we learned that when I was high school student, but I think like primary school period and also middle high school period, what we learn is always kind of focus on what America did to Japan. So we don't learn a lot what we did to other country and also other in Hawaii. But when we become high school student, I think it's really dependent on the teacher, but I was really lucky. I had a really great teacher. He taught a lot of things. So yes, I know. So that's the reason why I can understand what we did. So anyway, it's going to be a little bit more. So I'm going to watch until the finish. And yes, so let's go.
And they help the gang chase Germany back into Germany. And they also start chasing Japan back into Japan. And they haven't used the bomb yet and are curious to see if it works. So they drop it on Japan. They actually dropped 2.
Okay, so about atomic bomb. Actually, my grandma and kind of my mother's side whole family, they're from Nagasaki Prefecture. And my grandma, she was born like 1939, and now she's about 81 years old. But she had been living in island which called Iki Island, so it was not exactly in the city of Nagasaki. But I've been talking about this topic a lot with my grandma and also grandpa. He already passed away, but she's still alive. So like before, I asked my grandma that first, do you have any feeling or thought about like United States, like right now, like it doesn't matter like what was the war between the Japan and America, something it's not that things, like about the impression about the country right now. And also the question that I asked was, how did you do when actually you got a bomb on the Nagasaki Prefecture? What she said was, okay, first it's the past, so we cannot complaining because it's already finished. And when we see the war, there's no winner and there's no loser. So there's just the people who survive from the things. So we need to care about the people who actually survive from the horrible fact that we have in.
I can't make out what she's saying.
What's up guys, Nolan here, and with the screenshot that we got the other day, it seems like BSG might be ready to have the RFB go live with patch 12.8. With the role that the RFB fills seemingly being fulfilled by other guns, and with so many others waiting to be put into the game, it is reasonable to ask why this gun and why now. Same thing can be said for a few other weapons that you can already find in Escape from Tarkov right now, like the MDR and the PPSH. Nikita Buyanov, the lead dev of Escape from Tarkov, has said several times that this is both a lore and tech-based decision for each weapon. So so it could differ from gun to gun, but it seems like the first thing that BSG wants to do is add all of the guns from Contract Wars to Escape from Tarkov, and then, based off the difficulty of the animations, go from there. Then somewhere in the mix are just the guns that they think are cool, so they add them. For those who don't know, BSG's previous title was an arcade FPS called Contract Wars, and Escape from Tarkov follows its footsteps in the same universe. If you want to learn more about that, I discuss it in my Russia 2028 video, which talks about the game that BSG are going to build after Escape from Tarkov as well. Now, since EFT is in the same universe as Contract Wars, it only makes sense that they have the same guns. So since some people are curious how I know what guns are coming to Escape from Tarkov for my videos, and apart from the ones that have been spoken about or shown, I quite literally just have the list right here. Chances are they will try to get as many, if not all of these in, so no matter how weird the specific gun may sound today, if it's on this list, it will probably show up at some point. The second part of the overall decision making is the animations. The team sometimes picks a gun based off of its mechanics, with a specific example being the PPSH, where they mentioned it having a unique open bolt design to allow them to get practice with the artwork and animations for it. Basically all I heard when they said that was that the PPSH was practice for the Uzi, but we'll see when that shows up because we haven't heard anything about it, and it is in Contract Wars, so it should be coming. That right there is the entire summary of how I make my educated guesses of what guns are going to be coming to Escape from Tarkov. So everyone calling BS that I'm just making this stuff up about future guns, it's super simple and confirmed numerous times that BSG wants to bring as many, if not all of the weapons from Contract Wars to Escape from Tarkov. We literally have a list of them all right here, so it's not difficult to understand. When you put all of that together, that is why the RFB is making its way into Escape from Tarkov before other guns that you might be thinking of, and how I was able to confirm so many of them coming to the game. Now, as to why the RFB is coming in ahead of iconic weapon systems like the SCAR or G36C, your guess is as good as mine, because those animations should not be too far off, and those should be way more fun to use. So Nikita, please give SCAR or G36, or both. I'll take both. You can do both. That's all for today, guys. If you want to learn more about Escape from Tarkov or its development, then you can check out my playlist for it here. If you are looking for people to play with, then you can join our Discord below. If you like this video, then you know the drill. I really appreciate the people who do. Otherwise, I hope you at least learned something, and I also hope you have a nice day. See you guys.
Yeah, you're having fun with old Aqua, aren't you?
We're just made for each other. Wait, there might be someone there.
Yep.
Good night, children.
like you lost another one.
I'll get it.